Hi everyone, welcome. I'm Shahinda Banasi, one of your APhA-ASP national members at large, and I'm so thrilled that you're here with us. Over the next couple of minutes, you'll meet each of our standing committees as they share the top tips, tricks, and tools that every chapter VP needs to succeed this year. To start, if you're a chapter president or president-elect, our APhA-ASP national president and president-elect will kick things off, sharing essential strategies to foster and lead your strongest chapter yet. Next, if you're a membership VP, patient care VP, or a patient care chair, stay tuned for our member engagement standing committee as they dive into proven ways to grow and nurture your chapter community. Then, for our communications VPs, our communications standing committee, or ComCom, will show you how to craft messages that truly engage your members. Following up, for our finance VPs, our awards standing committee will break down the essentials of managing your budget and fundraising strategies for your chapter. After that, for our international VPs, our international standing committee will highlight tips for building global partnerships and show you how to leverage your IPSF membership. And finally, for our policy VPs, our policy standing committee will equip you with the advocacy toolkit you need to make your voice heard. I know that stepping into a leadership role can feel daunting. It's amazing that you're here taking this initiative to watch this and get ahead of the game. Remember, you've been chosen because you have what it takes, and these resources are here to help you shine. So sit back, take notes, and get ready to make this year your chapter's best one yet. Now, before I leave you, I'm going to show you how to access our newly refined Chapter Officer Resource Hub, your go-to place this year. Let's dive in. To start, please be sure that you're logged into your account at pharmacist.com. Once you're on the screen, there are two paths that you can take to move forward. You can either click Students here on the left side, or if you hover over Membership and click Communities, you'll be brought to a page that reflects our new community membership model. This is a great page to share with your chapter members in case they are looking to become more involved with APhA on multiple levels. Once you scroll to the bottom, you'll find our Student Pharmacists community. On this page, you'll find important dates, deadlines, and resources for every chapter member. For our chapter officers, though, check out our Leadership Lab series at the top. Be sure to register for the live session for your role. And be sure to come ready to brainstorm, network with fellow officers who hold the same position as you, and to connect with the national leaders who will support you throughout your term, who you will actually become familiar with throughout this video. As you scroll through this page, once you get to the bottom, you'll find our Chapter Officer Resources Hub. This page is built just for you, for our student pharmacists, with templates, checklists, and guides. We have a drop-down selection based on your position that contains resources that will help you throughout your term. Feel free to download what you need and bookmark the page for easy access. Also share this with your other officers because there's a role for everyone here. There are also documents and resources specific to your national or regional structure. If you find that something is missing, simply let your National Standing Committee know and they'll bring it to life. Thanks for watching, and now let's get into those committee highlights.
Hi, y'all. We are so excited that you're joining us for this pre-leadership lab session, specifically tailored for chapter presidents and president-elects. We're going to do a brief introduction before diving into all the things you need to know for the year ahead. My name is Rachel Lucky. I'm currently serving on the National Executive Committee as your national president. My contact information is listed down below, and we'll have it again at the end of the slide should you have any questions. And I'll pass it over to Sean.
Thank you, Rachel. My name is Sean Kawa, and I'm currently serving as the national president-elect, and my contact information is also shown below.
Alrighty, so here's a quick snapshot of all that we're going to be covering. We're going to keep this nice and short, especially for you as chapter presidents and president-elects who may want to also watch other segments of this video. So first, we're just going to start off with a quick overview of the structure of APHA and APhA-ASP. So the American Pharmacists Association is broken down into 23 communities. We do have a student pharmacist community, which we call APHA-ASP. So when you join American Pharmacist Association, you are automatically assigned as a student to be a member of this specific community. Once you are a member, you automatically have all resources available to you within APHA, and that also includes being able to join other communities that fit your interest areas. I attached a QR code at the bottom of this slide. If you scan it, it will take you to the portion of the website that will let you explore a little bit more about what those communities are and how you can get involved. So now we're going to specifically dive into our student pharmacist community, APHA-ASP. This is just a brief snapshot for your reference as chapter president and chapter president-elect of the chapter structure that's recommended by the Academy. So on the left-hand column, you have the chapter position, and on the right-hand column, it is the national contact person that's assigned to you to support you and be a resource to you throughout your term. So that very first row up there is where your specific national contact person is, and your national contacts are me and Sean. And so our contact information, once again, is at the beginning of the slide deck and at the end. And we would love to hear from you throughout the year and just be a resource to you and a source of encouragement for you as you go throughout the year ahead. Right over here on the right side, I also attached QR codes that will take you directly to contact information for all of the other individuals listed on these slides, as well as for our new practitioner advisory committee. And once again, this is really just for your reference as chapter president as you go throughout the year if you get questions from your chapter leaders. I'm going to pass it off to Sean now.
Next, we're going to talk about the roles and responsibilities associated with your position. If you're stepping into the role of president, you are serving as the principal organizer for your chapter. If you're stepping into the role as president-elect, you're going to be using the next year to learn about how to be in this position and serve in this position effectively. On this screen here, we list out several different responsibilities that serve as the core types of principles that you should adhere to throughout your time within the position. Generally speaking, you should be looking to uplift, educate, and empower your members to ensure that you are creating events that create value for your members and that provide benefit to your community. And this can happen in a variety of ways, many of which are listed on this slide here.
All right, and now we're going to cover our top 5 tips for you as a chapter president or president-elect. Our goal with these is to offer you tips that you can't necessarily just find on the website, but we do have QR codes listed throughout if there is more information that can be found on pharmacist.com. So the first tip that we have for you is to create a plan for your chapter achievement report. These reports are due annually on June 15th, and they have 2 components within them. One is the chapter achievement report, which is a long document that your chapter will go in and answer different essay questions tailored specifically for your chapter. And then the other component is a chronological list, which basically gives us all of the details we need to know about your event to consider you for national awards. So my biggest tip for you as chapter president or president-elect is to spend some time this summer familiarizing yourself with the different components that you're going to need to document for those chronological lists. And with that in mind, create a streamlined method that's going to work for your chapter on how to collect that information throughout the year, because it's going to be a lot easier to remember how many pharmacists were in attendance, how many patients you served right after the event versus a year later when it's time to submit the chapter achievement report. And rule of thumb is that the earlier that you start working on the CAR, the better. And so this QR code right here in that corner takes you straight to the website where we have tons of resources specific to you that you can tailor for your chapter to help you have a head start on the year ahead. Tip number 2 is to be proactive in setting and sharing meeting agendas. So first, for chapter meetings with chapter members, the goal is to keep them short and keep them fun. Student pharmacists are very busy, and we really want to capture their attention and show them all of the ways that APHA-ASP can benefit them, both now in pharmacy school and for the rest of their careers. So we really encourage you create fun slideshows with photos of your chapter to lead into the meeting. Food always gets student pharmacists there. So whether that's you're providing the entire cost of the food or whether you ask them to pitch in $1 or $2, this is a great way to get attendees there. If you're going to have a speaker, we suggest having them speak for about 10 to 15 minutes on topics that are relevant to student pharmacists. These are great ways for you to get your new practitioner mentors involved and have them come to speak to students about life after pharmacy school. Giveaways are always a fun thing, so whether that's giving away a free membership, a gift card, or whatever works for you and your chapter, that's always strongly recommended. And then lastly, always end your chapter meetings with announcements of local, regional, and national APhA-ASP opportunities. This is one of your biggest roles as your chapter president is to pass along these opportunities to your chapter. Sean mentioned on a previous slide that you will be one of the primary individuals receiving this information, so passing it along is very important. The other type of meeting that you're going to be responsible for as chapter president is your executive committee / e-board / chapter leader meeting. Whatever your chapter calls it, this is a time for you to come prepared and have an agenda shared. I recommend at least a week in advance so that those leaders have time to know who is giving updates and what they're supposed to be giving updates about, and so that they can adequately plan for that time on their calendar. And then I always like to encourage people, it is about getting the job done, but this position is also about building relationships. And so ensure that you are building some sort of team building components into your chapter leader meetings. Tip number 3 is to choose meaningful events to your community and chapter members. So we always push quality over quantity at APhA-ASP. We want to encourage collaboration among your chapter officers. So I gave an example here that blood pressure readings through Operation Heart could easily be paired alongside blood glucose readings with Operation Diabetes at patient care events. This is an easy way to collaborate and serve your community in 2 ways at one single time. This is a great time for you to also take time to understand your community and pinpoint what matters to them and what needs they specifically have so that you can tailor your events to that. When you're thinking about those events, considering the times and days that work well with both your student volunteers as well as your committee is very important. And so that's just important things to train your chapter leaders to think through as they're planning events on their end. And then always spend sufficient time and resources advertising your events. Clearly define the value of these meetings to your members, because at the end of the day, if you spend all this time planning these incredible events and outreach projects and chapter meetings, but you don't spend time telling people when they are and where they are and why they're important, you don't have a good turnout. We just want to make sure that you have the time and resources available to you to advertise your event well to maximize your turnout and your impact. Tip number 4 is to prioritize time management. So this one is really one that I want to encourage you. It can feel a little bit selfish, but taking on the role of chapter president or president-elect is no small feat, and it is definitely a sacrifice that you are making on your end in the midst of pharmacy school. And so I want you to take on the mindset this year that this is an opportunity for you to develop both as a person and as a leader, and to really learn and or refine your time management skills. My biggest advice to chapter presidents is always let classroom time be classroom time, let study time be study time, and let APhA time be APhA time. Clearly define those times on your calendar and stick to that, because it can be really easy to let the demands of each of those atmospheres bleed over into the other one. But really just use, my favorite is Google Calendar. I live off of Google Calendar and Google Task, but find what works for you and really dig deep into that this year. A little bit of time each day goes a long way when it comes to drafting emails and creating agendas. So if you can do a little bit, even 15 to 20 minutes a day, it can really make a big difference, both for your impact as chapter president and honestly just for your overall health and wellness as a human being. And then this is the selfish portion, but throughout the year, I'd really encourage you to document the experiences that you have as a chapter leader, and how you learn time management and all those things so that you can speak to that in future interviews, whether that's for a job or for a residency or for a fellowship in the future. So that's my biggest tip for prioritizing time management. And then lastly, communicate early and often. This one often seems like a no-brainer, but it can be really difficult in the moment when you've got lots of things coming at you. So I just listed out Communicate early and often with your chapter members, your leaders, your advisors, your faculty members, and with your community partners. That's just rule of thumb as you're approaching the year ahead. And those are our top 5 tips for you.
Next, we're going to talk about the resources available to you as new chapter officers. So first and foremost, we have the welcome emails for your leadership positions that would have been sent out in either late June or early July. This will provide an early form of understanding of the position that you're stepping into, as well as the responsibilities associated with it. However, if you have further questions, we're then going to direct you to the APhA-ASP 101 resource. This also will be coming out in mid to late July, and this will go into detail about all of the facets that would accompany any questions you would have associated with APhA-ASP. Also be on the lookout for monthly e-newsletters that will provide updates on what's going on with APhA and APhA-ASP and within the world of pharmacy, and about any pertinent information associated with your position. This will come in the form of the APhA Chapter Executive Update or the APhA Student Pharmacist Connection. And then again, we will direct you to the APhA-ASP 101 resource for this all-encompassing document outlining responsibilities and information associated with APhA-ASP, but also the central hub for any questions you may have and all resources associated with APhA and APhA-ASP is going to be pharmacist.com. It's here where you can find all the information associated with events and resources that you would ever need to know while you are serving as an officer within APhA-ASP and beyond. Next, a couple of announcements. So first is going to be the chapter president and president-elect leadership lab session. This is set to be taking place on July 28th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can register by scanning the QR code found on the right side of the screen here. And next we have the regional meetups. This is a new form of meeting that we are planning on hosting on September 22nd. The time of this meeting will depend on your school's region so we can best accommodate you and your time zone. But during these meetings, you will learn best how to hold events at your home chapter, and you will become more acquainted with regional and national student leaders. And lastly, here we have the contact information for both Rachel and I going forward.
Thank y'all so much for joining us. We cannot wait to see you on July 28th to really just have a big old powwow and get to know each other a little bit better and brainstorm for the year ahead. Thank you for spending your time with us. Bye.
Hey everyone, this is our introductory video to the Membership Vice President Leadership Lab. My name is Aniston Young. I am coming from Lipscomb University, and I am the Operation Diabetes Chair on the Member Engagement Standing Committee.
Hi everyone, my name is Desiree. I am coming from the University of Buffalo, and I am the OTC Medicine Safety Member Engagement Standing Committee.
So here is the rest of the Member Engagement Standing Committee. These are all the girls that are on our team. They all represent different operations. And so again, Desiree and I are leading the membership IP Vice President part of this video, but the rest of our members here have different parts of the Leadership Lab. And then here are APhA-ASP liaisons. So we have Ellie Flynn, who helps liaise to Parth Patel, who is the staff member at APhA.
I will walk us through a little bit more that we're going to cover today. So first, we're going to go through the purpose of the Membership Vice President. We're also going to cover some responsibilities of your role, 5 tips for success, some resources, and some reminders.
So as a membership vice president, you have some roles and responsibilities that will make you a successful membership VP. And so as a membership VP, you really are just needing to address the needs of your membership and the community by actively engaging the members in your chapter through events throughout the whole year. A membership VP really develops strategies to increase member participation. It works with the chapter members, officers, and advisors to develop strategic plans for membership
recruitment and retention.
I'm going to go through a little bit of the responsibilities. So this is a rough timeline of the school year, starting in August, ending in May. So first you see chapter outreach visits. So these start in August and go through October. You can reach out to the APhA-ASP members to come visit your chapter and talk a little bit more about APhA-ASP as a whole. Also beginning in August is the fall membership drive. The fall membership drive focuses on first-year student pharmacists to join and for second and third-year student pharmacists to renew their membership with APhA-ASP. Following that, in January is the spring membership drive, which targets final year student pharmacists to join with final year membership. This membership kind of highlights exclusive benefits for students with resources for these students who are going on rotations. Throughout the entire year, you're going to focus a little bit more on social event planning, member engagement, and the CAR documentation. So for social event planning, beginning of the academic year through October 31st, events should be focused on increasing membership and show why students should join APhA-ASP. November 1st through the end of the academic year, events should focus on increasing member engagement and remind members why they joined. To focus a little bit more on membership engagement, always focus on sharing your why your story is the most powerful tool you can use, and learn more about why your members joined APhA-ASP. And always remember to keep records of membership goals and the planning process for membership drives.
So here are kind of our 5 tips for you being a successful membership VP. Just keep in mind your role as a membership VP is all about your members. So you need to find out why your student pharmacists are joining and staying involved in APhA-ASP. And again, your members are the key for your chapter being successful. So you just need to encourage them to stay involved. And remember that membership is everyone's responsibility. So make sure to encourage your e-board, your advisors, other members in APhA-ASP to just encourage those to stay involved and stay plugged into your chapter. You also want to highlight the benefits of APhA-ASP membership. So whether or not this is them being able to attend patient care events into the communities, learning more about leadership, or just learning more about different opportunities in the field of pharmacy, these are all benefits of being involved in APhA-ASP, and you need to remind your members of that. You also need to find ways to incentivize or kind of boost your membership drive. Maybe that's including cohort competitions of who can get the most members involved by a certain date. Or maybe this is raffles or white coat pens, graduation cords. There's many ways to kind of incentivize your fellow peers at your school to get involved and stay involved in APhA-ASP. As we mentioned earlier, you always want to start planning early for these events. So whether it's for your membership drive or for a social event, planning early is always better than being a little bit behind. So the earlier, the better. And then you always want to keep track of everything for your car. The June 16th deadline for the car sneaks up on everybody, so just make sure to stay up to date and keep documentation of all of your goals and all of your planning that you've done throughout the year.
Next, I'll be covering some resources that are available to all student members. So first, the virtual membership box is specifically for membership vice presidents. There are lots of useful tools in there. And then also we have the APhA-ASP social media. There's lots of fun posts and reminders. Next, we have the APhA-ASP event planning checklist and timeline. So again, always start planning early and keep a kind of to-do list of everything to do throughout the year. And then finally, we have the chapter transition guides. These are very useful in addition to this video as a resource as you become and step into this new role. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us via email, a DM on Instagram, or GroupMe. We hope to see you soon at the Membership VP Leadership Lab session on July 29th at 8 p.m. And here is our information if you have any questions. Thank you so much for your time.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jenna Abu Hassan, and I'm here today to introduce you to the Patient Care Vice President Leadership Lab. Just as a brief introduction, I am the Operation Heart Liaison for the Membership Engagement Standing Committee with APhA-ASP. I am a student pharmacist at the Massachusetts College of Pharmacy and Health Sciences. As another quick introduction, this is the Membership Engagement Standing Committee. Here are my lovely group mates, my lovely teammates, with each of their respective operations. And here are our lovely APhA-ASP liaisons, Ellie Flynn, who is a national member at large, and she is our liaison who liaises to Parth Patel, who is our APhA-ASP staff. Here is an agenda of what we're going to discuss today. We're going to talk about the top 5 things that you should know as a patient care vice president, the roles and responsibilities that come with the position, an overview of operations, a timeline, and resources. So, patient care vice president, what should you know? So, as a patient care vice president, it is crucial to start planning early. When you plan early, you're able to lessen the burden that and all of the feelings of being overwhelmed as you go on with the year, as the coursework starts to pile up. Just planning early essentially gives you plenty of time to deal with any of those type of challenges that may arise, as well as event approvals. So depending on your chapters and university's policies and procedures, approval process may take some time and that can cause some delays. So starting to think and process and plan early can really help you with dealing with those type of challenges. It is also encouraged to target your special populations in your community, to also collaborate with your team to brainstorm ideas and get feedback. We also encourage you to collaborate with other student organizations to broaden your reach and your volunteer reserves. It's like hitting 2 targets with 1 shot. If you are an exec for 2 organizations or more, collaborating on your events can really help broaden outreach efforts with less work on your end. We also encourage you developing this idea and the requirements for other organizations, as this will make logistics easier for you while also allowing you, our APhA-ASP chapter leaders, the ability to lead the event. And lastly, document your planning and events and the context that you utilized for your successor. If you document your events right after the event occurs, it will prevent anything from falling to the wayside. We encourage that you also update your chapter's chronological list right after each event. And also be sure to take notes on how the event went down so that it can help when you write the CAR later in the year. It's also really helpful because as you document all of these, it will also help your successor. So the next person who will take over when you do the transition period, so that in case they run out of ideas or feel overwhelmed or lost, they can look back to see how you plan these events, how you outreached, who you outreached to, and it can also save a lot of time in the long run. So some roles and responsibilities. As the patient care vice president, your responsibility and role is to oversee all patient care projects and community outreach events at the chapter level. You advocate for the role student pharmacists play as health educators. You promote the development of clinical skills through patient care initiatives. You also manage operation chairs and serve as a liaison for patient care initiatives and the executive committee. This can include your president-elect, and your chapter advisors. You also, as a patient care vice president, engage the community in outreach efforts that promote the profession of pharmacy. So here are the 6 nationally recognized patient care initiatives. We have Operation Immunization, Operation Heart, Operation Substance Use Disorder, Operation Reproductive Health, OTC Med Safety, and Operation Diabetes. But these are the 6 nationally recognized patient care initiatives, that does not mean that you can limit it to just that, because your chapter may have local projects that are specific to the needs that your community will also need, depending. So something else to also keep in mind. So here is a timeline. In this timeline, here's an overview that we have of major events and dates that happen throughout the year. This is a good slide to snap a picture of and add to your calendar as you get ready to plan out your year. It's important to also utilize this timeline throughout the year so you can use it as event ideas for specific months that may be coming up. A big one is the APHA Annual. Highly, highly encourage you all to go. Annual is a great opportunity to learn and professionally grow, to network. It's honestly a great experience and I highly recommend it. We also have the mid-year regional meetings, the leadership labs, and chapter outreach visits, officer position transitions, the CAR that's due in June, and throughout just the entire year. It's like I mentioned earlier, it's very important to make sure you document all of these events so that when it comes time to submit the CAR, it's easier and less overwhelming. So here are our resources. So some resources that we highly encourage you to reach out to are your advisors, faculty, new practitioner mentors, and even your previous officers. Sometimes the best form of assistance that you can receive are the ones that are right in front of your eyes. So reaching out to your own community can also provide great help. If you want additional or if you prefer to go online, you can actually just go to the APHA website. We have a lot of useful information on there. To look at more information for your specific role as a patient care vice president, you can go to thepharmacist.com, click on students, scroll down to the bottom of the student page, click on the chapter official officer resource hub, and then select the patient care vice president. And here you can find a whole array of information that can really help with whatever you need as the patient care VP. Also, reach out to your national patient care liaisons at the same website, pharmacist.com. If you go to students, scroll to leadership opportunities, click on APHA-ASP National Standing Committees, meet your APHA-ASP National Standing Committee, scroll to MESC. To make it easier, I've also added a slide presentation right here where I put all of the membership engagement standing committees for APHA-ASP as well as the emails under each one. So whatever questions you have regarding any operation, here is our contact information. So please don't hesitate to reach out to us. We are here to help and we are more than happy and willing to help with whatever you need help with. So here are the resources. This is a QR code that will take you to the chapter transition guides. And this is a resource, well, it's our social media page. So it's a QR code that will take you right there. So if you have any questions, like I mentioned, please feel free to email us, DM us on our Instagram. We are also available on GroupMe if you are interested in utilizing that application. We hope to see you soon at the Patient Care Vice President Leadership Lab session on July 30th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'd love to see you there and hopefully get to meet you guys and talk to you more and get to know you. So that is all that I have. Thank you so much for your attention. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. With that, that's all I have. Thank you so much. Bye.
Hi everyone, I'm Madeline Yenter, and I am one of the members of the Member Engagement Standing Committee at APHA-ASP, and today we're just going to be going over some basic resources and concepts for you guys to help prepare for leadership lab sessions for the patient care project chairs. So first, just a brief agenda of things we're going to go over in this video. We're just going to do some introductions of people on our national team, review the patient care projects, review responsibilities as chair, go over some member engagement tips, and then also review some of the resources available to you guys as patient care chairs. So introducing our Member Engagement Standing Committee. First, we have Ashley. She's our Operation Immunization National Liaison. She's also the chair of our committee. We have Camille. She's our Operation Substance Use Disorders National Liaison. I am the Operation Reproductive Health National Liaison. Aniston is our Operation Heart National Liaison. Desiree is our OTC Med Safety National Liaison. And Jenna is our Operation Diabetes National Liaison. And then our NEC liaison, so our liaison to the National Executive Committee is Ellie Flynn. She's one of the APhA-ASP national members at large. And Parth Patel is our staff liaison. So going over some of the patient care projects. So for the national projects, we have Operation Immunization, Operation Diabetes, Operation Heart, Operation Substance Use Disorders, Operation Reproductive Health, and OTC Medicine Safety. And then you guys may also have local projects at your own chapters. Local projects is kind of just identifying different needs in your community or different topics that your chapter members feel passionate about. So some of these could be like Operation Mental Health or Operation Skin Health, just things like that that you think would be helpful for you for your community and something your chapter members would be interested in. Some of your responsibilities as chair. So first, holding patient care events that encompass the mission and vision of your operation and fulfill a need in your community. And then also providing opportunities to get involved in your chapter, educating others on what your role is as patient care project chair, creating volunteer opportunities for members, and creating opportunities for members to earn service, leadership, or other co-curricular hours that your school may require. For planning events, you're going to want to make sure you start early. So we recommend taking some time before the semester or quarter to create an overview of events you would like to do. Also plan ahead for National Health Month initiatives that relate to your project. So for example, American Heart Month is in February and Women's Health Month is in May. So just keeping an eye out for some of those months that could relate to your patient care project. Also, we recommend collaborating with others to plan your event, especially with the other patient care project chairs, because there's a lot of overlap in a lot of our chronic disease states. So it can be good to hold events together and provide more comprehensive patient care. And also working with your chapter's international VP on overlapping IPSF public health campaigns. So like the infectious disease campaign or like World Health Days from the WHO. Some tips for documentation for your events. It's important to record necessary information for the annual chapter achievement report. This is something you need to fill out every year as a chapter, and it's just good practice to kind of record some of this information while you're doing these events instead of waiting until the end of the year and trying to figure out like how many patients you served at these events. So this is just an example of one of the entries on like the chronological list for the CAR. So this is a good starting point for stuff that you want to document for each event that you hold. You'll also want to document any meaningful patient interactions. So if you have a good patient story from that, obviously make sure that you're not sharing patient health information, but it's good to record those interactions and share those when you're filling out the chapter achievement report. It's also important to document what members learned or what members got out of the experience as a result of planning or volunteering for an event. We want to show that these experiences are beneficial to members, and that's also another thing that you'll have to report for the chapter achievement report. As far as tips for member engagement, we really encourage people to share your why. So what made you get involved in the patient care projects and why others should get involved. It's really important to emphasize that no matter what sector of pharmacy you're going into, you're going to utilize your pharmacy training and experiences. So getting some more practice in these like patient care skills, time management, event planning, those are really useful experiences that you can use in interviews while prepping for residency, things like that. We also encourage creating like incentives for volunteering or attending events. So gift cards, prizes, free meals, or snacks to those who volunteer. And then also combining social activities with a volunteer event, just so members have the opportunity to connect with each other, while also gaining patient care experience and knowledge. So examples of this could be like a community health fair and a carnival, or a lunch and learn event over the lunch hour at your school. Some resources available to you guys. Of course, use your national liaisons to the patient care projects as a reference point if you have questions or would like event ideas. Feel free to reach out to us. Um, on the CAR webpage, here in the QR code in the teal, if you go to the additional resources tab, you'll receive, or you'll be able to view the Chapter Achievement Awards reporting tool. So that can help you kind of record and keep track of your events. And then the QR code down here in the purple color, that links to the Chapter Officer Resource Hub, and that has past workshops and planning guides for the various patient care projects. Finally, here's our contact information for the national liaisons. I'm sure this will get sent out again prior to Leadership Lab, but if you guys have any questions for any of us, please feel free to reach out. We're happy to answer any questions or support you in any way. But yeah, we will see you for your Leadership Lab session later on this year.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sarah, and I'm the 2025-2026 Chair of the Communications Standing Committee. And today, I'm joined by my committee to provide an overview of the role of Communications Vice President. And here is our committee. So I'm joined by Charles, Brianna, Ryan, Taylor, and Amanda to introduce you all into the role. And here are some other people I would like to introduce. So Shahinda is our national member at large, and she serves as our student liaison for the committee. And Crystal Atwell is our staff liaison, and she serves as the senior director of the student and new practitioner development team. So now I will go over the roles and responsibility of the communications vice president. So your role can be split into two buckets, the communicator and advocate, and you serve as the bridge between the leadership team and members to make sure that everyone is in the loop of all the amazing things that your chapter does. And along with that, you will manage the internal communication for your leadership team, which we will go over in a little bit. And the next part of that is to serve as the advocate for your chapter. So the ComVP is a unique opportunity for you to use your creativity to create content that advocates for the profession of pharmacy and your chapter. So whether it's your patient care projects or policies at the state association, you guys can use your platform to advocate for the profession of pharmacy and your chapter. So now we will go into some tips and tricks to help you guys become successful in your roles.
There are several different ways that you can communicate with your chapter effectively. One useful tool is a calendar. This could include a weekly Instagram story post, monthly updates on your main feed, or even a hyperlink to an Excel calendar that outlines key dates and deadlines. Having a shared chapter calendar helps to prevent double booking and keeps everyone on the same page. You may also want to use an internal leadership calendar for your executive team to track tasks and responsibilities more closely. Another method is using platforms like GroupMe to send quick updates or reminders. It's also important to clearly outline expectations for your position and your committee, if applicable. Setting deadlines for things like post requests or scheduling photographers for events is another way to stay organized. And finally, remember that we're all busy students. Clear communication and shared expectations help reduce stress and prevent burnout for everyone involved.
When it comes to engaging members on social media, we wanted to provide you all with a few tips and ideas. First, be sure to include pictures of your members. People love seeing familiar faces, and it helps build a sense of community within your student body. Your posts should strike a balance between being professional and fun. It's important to keep things polished, but don't be afraid to show some personality with creative trends and posts. Captions are also very important, so include a short write-up of the event to give context and highlight what made it meaningful. Always prioritize quality over quantity. A few well-done posts go much further than frequent but low-effort ones. Also, don't forget to follow and tag at APhA-ASP to help amplify your chapter's reach and connect with the national community.
Your role isn't just to serve as the communicator for your chapter, it's also to be an advocate for the profession of pharmacy. As a communications vice president, you have a unique platform to use your creativity in a very meaningful way. Whether it's designing graphics, writing captions, or editing videos, you have the ability to spotlight your chapter's work and the impact of your projects. For example, creating content for national campaigns is a great way to raise awareness while also highlighting how your chapter contributes to larger pharmacy initiatives. On pharmacist.com in the Chapter Resources Hub, you can find the campaign schedule for the year to help guide you in planning what content you can make.
PharmFlix is a national video competition hosted by APhA-ASP that gives student pharmacists the opportunity to creatively showcase their chapter's impact and promote the profession of pharmacy. Each year, a theme is announced, usually tied to advocacy, patient care, or the values of pharmacists. And chapters from across the country submit short, engaging videos that highlight how they're making a difference. It's a fun and meaningful way to tell your chapter's story, engage your members, and raise awareness about important pharmacy topics on a national platform. Plus, the winning videos are recognized at APhA annual meeting. Here are some helpful tips to keep in mind when approaching your PharmFlix project. Start by creating a rough timeline to stay organized and on track. This timeline should include key steps like collecting consent forms, planning your filming schedule, and communicating expectations clearly to anyone involved, whether that's general members or leadership. Staying ahead and being structured will make the process much smoother. Also, be sure to keep an eye out on social media for the official theme announcement so you can start brainstorming your ideas early.
And finally, make sure to join our GroupMe. This is where we will send updates and ideas for you guys throughout the year, and this will also serve as a way for you to network and share your creativity with other communications vice presidents. And you can also ask us questions through GroupMe.
In addition to the key information provided, we encourage you to visit pharmacist.com to access valuable resources such as the Chapter Operations Manual and the Communication Vice President's Toolkit, which will be available around the time of the Leadership Lab. Campaign schedule and branding toolkit and Dropbox will also be available on our website in the Chapter Resource Hub. Thank you again for your dedication, and we look forward to seeing you at the Communications Vice President Leadership Lab session on July 29th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to your APhA-ASP Finance Vice President Leadership Lab introduction. We want to thank you for joining us and serving as your chapter's Finance VP for this upcoming year. Before we jump into things, we'll do some quick introductions. First off, my name is Grace, and I'm the Award Standing Committee Chair, and I'm from the University of South Carolina.
Hey everyone, my name is Paige, and I'm from the University of Florida College of Pharmacy.
Hi guys, my name is Sarah, and I'm from the University of Toledo.
Hey, my name is Kaylee, and I'm from the University of Missouri, Kansas City.
Next, we have our Award Standing Committee Liaisons. So as our National Executive Committee Liaison, we have Sean, who is your National President-elect this year. And as our staff liaison, we have Parth, who is the Senior Manager for Student Development at APhA. As an introduction to your position, we want to give you some tips that will help you succeed your position this year. First off, we want to remind you that you're not alone. You are the person that should know the most about your chapter finances, but that doesn't mean you're alone in keeping your chapter finances afloat. Managing your chapter finances is a process that should ideally be shared with the executive committee, your president and president-elect, as well as your chapter advisor. A great way to keep your president and chapter advisor in the loop with finances is to send monthly finance reports. Details that could be included on a monthly report include your accounts total at the beginning of the month versus the end of the month, any outstanding reimbursements or transactions, checks that were written and whether they were cashed or not, remaining budgeted amount, and any upcoming fundraisers.
So next we're going to talk about sponsorships. Start thinking about potential partners for funding or supplies. Pharmacies love supporting student pharmacists, and your fellow chapter leaders or members may have pharmacy connections that are looking to get their name out in the community. When reaching out to potential sponsors, it's imperative to introduce yourself and explain that you represent your college or school of pharmacy, APhA-ASP chapter, and stay professional.
Our next tip is about budgeting. As Finance VP, one of your main responsibilities will be to create and maintain your chapter budget while also holding your fellow chapter leaders accountable when it comes to their expenses. You're going to want to be thorough and make sure you're updating the budget throughout the year as needed. It's also important to stay organized with all receipts, reimbursements, and payments. Some big things you're going to want to account for in your budget include conferences like Mid-Year Regional Meeting, APHA Annual, the Summer Leadership Institute, and the APHA Institute on Substance Use Disorders. Another large expense to account for includes food for general body meetings if that's something your chapter offers. It is helpful to plan for unexpected costs and be sure to be frugal if possible. Lastly, you're going to want to remember that all budgeting expenses must align with the policies and procedures specific to your school or college of pharmacy. Expenditures at one chapter may not always be allowed at another.
We're going to walk through a quick timeline on the items that a finance VP should be aware of throughout the course of their term. So first, starting in July, right off the bat, we have the Summer Leadership Institute. If your College of Pharmacy sends students, it's incorporating the costs. Do you pay for the hotel? Do you pay for the registration? And what accommodations are for the students? Adding this into your budget. Next, we want to work with the chapter executive committee and your advisors to develop our budget. Most chapters have one that is set from last year and making improvements, identifying strong points and weak points where money was lost and where money was gained and how we can maximize the spending for the next year. Then we want to put our funds into the chapter executive committee retreat. This can be something you do with your executive board, your chairs, or your entire chapter. And then we want to reach out to the sponsors for fall events. Like we had mentioned earlier in the webinar, local organizations within your area love collaborating with colleges of pharmacy. And then soon we will provide a template where we can reach out to sponsors. Planning for the fall fundraising begins about August. I know a lot of our classes are picking up then, so starting earlier will be best preparing our team for a successful year. Finalizing the fall budget, obviously in line with your advisor, your College of Pharmacy, and your university. And then the fall membership drive begins. A lot of colleges of pharmacy offer membership events, and they offer either food, prizes, or giveaways. Those can be from sponsors or from our budget. Some institutions do pizza, others do raffles and gift baskets. In September, we are going to execute fall fundraising ideas. So if your College of Pharmacy has a finance VP and fundraising chairs, working with them to maximize what kind of fundraisers work well. A lot of people do sweatshirts, some of them do candygrams for Halloween or Thanksgiving. Just some ideas to throw out that have worked well in the past for chapters around the country. And then start planning for the mid-year regional meeting. As we know, we have 3 options to attend the meeting. It can be in person in Washington, D.C. It can be as a chapter watch party, where your university pays a set fee to have it broadcasted to your members. And a lot of universities or colleges of pharmacy choose to opt in for students to pay a ticket fee to go to this meeting. So it is decreased cost from attending in person, and it's something that your finance VP can budget in for the year. And then the last option would be to have individual students attend the mid-year regional meeting on their own for a set fee from the location of their choice. And then in October, we want to focus on American Pharmacist Month. A lot of our efforts and go into advocacy within our community and locally and across the state. A lot of colleges of pharmacy do events like card writing for community pharmacists, and they do banners or they paint walls within their community to raise awareness about the pharmacy profession. And then just a date to be mindful of, the fall membership drive is going to end October 31st. This is where all efforts to get either the new P1s or the retention from the P2 and P3 class to become members of APhA-ASP for the next year. And then in November, we do have the mid-year regional meeting. Like I had mentioned before, the 3 different ways that student pharmacists can attend this meeting. And then we want to start working proactively to start planning our spring budget around November. Just when the holidays come around in December, things get a little busy and our advisors may not be up to speed with the budget, and that way you guys can identify strong points and weak points, what worked well, what didn't, and work on what's going to be the case for the next semester. And then in December and for those spring events, if you've had sponsors that have been receptive in the past, it's always worth it to kind of keep that relationship, to ask for sponsorship again, and then show them your successes. Show them, hey, we did this and we did this, and this student was able to participate in this opportunity, so they can see that their money or their materials they provided are going to good use within the community and the College of Pharmacy. Next, in January, we want to have a chapter executive committee retreat. Not all colleges of pharmacy do this, but if your chapter does, budgeting in what does that look like for you guys? And then planning again with your finance VPs or your fundraiser chairs, these spring fundraising events, and then finalizing the spring budget. Some chapters do a year-long budget right at the beginning, some break it up per semester, so depending on what your chapter does, you can work proactively to get that finalized as soon as possible. And then in February, again, we're doing the spring fundraising ideas and start planning for the APhA annual meeting. A lot of colleges of pharmacy work in conjunction either with their university or an outsider source to sponsor students to attend APhA annual. This is in LA this year, so it is very imperative that we work hard proactively as finance VPs to budget in and maybe do extra fundraisers or do extra outreach visits that can bring in funds to sponsor as many students as possible for the meeting. And then the spring membership drive focused on P4 or incoming P4 retention is going to be a big part of the budget. We want to encourage student pharmacists to purchase the transitioning membership as we get a lot of benefits with the pearls, with the NAPLEX prep stuff, and all of the resources APhA-ASP offers. And then finance VP transitions, as we know, we try our best to leave everything better than we found it. So making sure throughout the year we work on our transition document and setting up our successors for the best. And then the taxes are due depending on how your university or College of Pharmacy files, working with your advisor to get those in by April 15th. Then in May, final transitions of the VP finance position should be done, and then a reflection with the incoming and the outcoming finance vice presidents, reflecting on how the year could have gone better and what went well and how to move forward for the next preceding year. And then finally, we want to plan in the budget if your university plans to send individuals to APHA's Institute on Substance Use Disorders in Salt Lake City. And then the chapter achievement report, once again, is due on June 15th. The finance section does have a part where we will be able to look at a chapter's budget and comprehensively allocate or show how your school utilized funds throughout the year.
In addition to these key things, we encourage you to look at the chapter operations manual to check out your position description and more. You can easily find the chapter operations manual by logging into pharmacist.com and searching chapter operations manual. Thank you again for serving in this capacity for your APhA-ASP chapter. Your national APhA-ASP officers are here to support and equip you every step of this journey. We hope this information was helpful and can't wait to see you all at the Finance VP Leadership Lab Workshop on July 29th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Hello, and welcome to the International Vice President section of APhA-ASP Leadership Lab for the 2025-2026 school year. Before we get started with everything that you need to know, I'd like to give a moment for the 2025-2026 International Standing Committee to introduce ourselves. As we go through introductions, you will be able to see all of our contact information on the screen. Please never hesitate to reach out to us. We're happy to help in any way that we can. So I will go ahead and get started. My name is Caitlin LaCour. I currently serve as chair of the International Standing Committee as well as National Student Exchange Officer. And I will go ahead and pass it off to the rest of the team to introduce themselves.
Hello, everyone. My name is Lino Gallo. I am the Student Exchange Officer-elect, and it's a pleasure to meet you all.
Hi everyone, I'm Joelle and I serve as the National Contact Person.
Hello everyone, my name is Ahmed Noor and I serve as the National Project Coordinator.
Okay, so I'd like to take a second to introduce Sean Kawa, who serves as your National President-elect for APhA-ASP and is liaison for ISC to the National Executive Committee. I'd also like to introduce Dr. Parth Patel, who serves as the Senior Manager of Student Development at APhA and serves as staff liaison to ISC. So today we're just going to be talking about the top 5 tips for your role, position description, timeline, checklist, and how to navigate the website. And this is all to prepare you for your live Leadership Lab session. But before we get started, I want to thank you for serving as your chapter's International Vice President this year. You are the bridge between the International Pharmaceutical Student Federation, otherwise known as IPSF, and your chapter. And you are going to help to bring global public health initiatives to life within your community. Your role is vital in connecting students with the world of international pharmacy. Of course, your ISC is here to support you throughout the way, and we are so excited to see you develop into a global leader. But for now, I will go ahead and pass it off to Joelle. So Joelle, you have the floor.
So just to prepare you for your live session, I just want to share the top 5 things you need to know to be successful in your role. Okay, so for the most up-to-date information, please join our IPSF GroupMe. That QR code is there. Go ahead and scan that. That's where we'll be able to tell you about IVP opportunities, but also all updates. So not just for you guys, but everyone. And we'll also be able to put collaboration opportunities in there and also our international events. Secondly, I think that a lot of people don't really know when they hear the word international, right? We're trying to make it easy for you. The easiest thing you can do is partner with your patient care VP and then give all of your events a public health focus, which is really all the international vice president does. We think that IVP, turning your events from, global health, public health, right? And this can be done by referring patients to free clinics, targeting underserved populations, incorporating disease prevention. Ahmed, our national project coordinator, is available for any questions or helping you brainstorm kind of ideas for that. So basically, when you think international, think globally, act locally. Number 3, if you're wanting to do any collaboration with another member organization, which is on our IPSF is then kind of what we call representative pharmacy associations, or basically a pharmacy organization in a different country. So just please reach out to us ASAP. It takes a little bit of time to kind of get things situated. And also please remember that there is a time difference with different countries. If you need to know what that is, you can Google what that is. But just keep that in mind when you're choosing what countries to work with. And if you have any questions about international collaborations or how to get in contact with another country, you can reach out to me. Number 4, please, please, please do not let the international aspect of the position scare you, especially if you're not bilingual, you don't speak other languages, or you don't think that you're a person that has a lot of diverse cultural experiences. I mean, even spreading cultural awareness to your members is super, super, super important in global health, especially as healthcare professionals. So if you or any students you know are interested in going internationally, we encourage you to apply for the student exchange program to experience culture in another country firsthand. And they will talk about that a little bit more later. And then lastly, just remember that utilizing virtual platforms is your best friend in this position. I mean, Teams, Zoom, Google Meet, all of those really, really help when planning things with other countries. Also, I would heavily encourage downloading WhatsApp. It's free. You kind of just put your phone number in. It's just an app that allows you to text and communicate with people from other countries without having to pay the charge. If you were to use your normal phone number, the provider, for example, like Verizon, AT&T, those would probably charge you a certain amount per day, which can be up to $10 to $20 a day, whereas using WhatsApp, it's kind of free. So those are my tips for your position, and I'll hand it over to Lino.
We're going to be talking about position and timeline with me. So really quick, what does the IVP do? Who is the IVP? Well, if you're standing and sitting inside this room right now, many of you are or want to be or just want to know more about them. As for the IVP, it is a crucial role within the APHAs, acting as a bridge between your school's chapter as well as the International Standing Committee. So some key responsibilities, right? You help promote campaigns of the International Pharmaceutical Student Federation, IPSF, within your chapter and find ways for members to address global health issues locally. Now, the IVP also encourages participation in IPSF humanitarian campaigns, such as the Vampire Cup. You also serve as a liaison between your chapter as well as the International Committee, helping facilitate both the student exchange program's success as well as providing relevant resources and updates. The APhA-ASP IVP is essential in connecting both local student pharmacists with global initiatives and promote international collaboration on health issues through both events with your school as well as connecting with other schools to make other events, both internationally as well as locally. Now, let's talk about timeline, shall we? So September 1st, the student exchange program applications open. Host sites also open. If I were you, I would write this down. It is crucial. It's very important. And now let's switch over to September 15th. The International Collaboration Priority Deadline occurs. On October, the Vampire Cup begins. And November 1st, the Student Exchange Program applications are due. So September, October, November, okay? So September 1st to November 1st, student exchange program applications. January 1st, though, the host sites applications are due. And then February 15th, the international collaboration priority deadline occurs. From May to September, the student exchange program occurs of that following year. And then June, the Vampire Cup ends. If there are any questions, please feel free again to reach out to either me or any of our other members here on the International Standing Committee. Thank you again.
All right, so for our checklist, the quickest thing you can do now is to join the GroupMe. And if you'd like one, request a virtual chapter visit from the International Standing Committee for the fall semester. You can do so by reaching out to any IEC member, either through email or GroupMe. Start thinking about the unique health needs in your community and how they connect to global challenges so you can shape APhA-ASP patient care projects that create a meaningful and lasting impact. Begin brainstorming international collaborations if you'd like to do one, so you are prepared for the priority deadline. And if you or one of your students is interested in a student exchange, they may send an email to Caitlin and Lena to receive feedback on their application before submitting. Finally, reach out to your chapter advisor about becoming a host site, and we can provide more resources for them if they are interested. Moving on to our website, which you could get to by simply Googling IPSF APHA. Once you log in, you'll be here in the homepage. When you scroll down, you'll find the updates and resources. So first, we have the Student Exchange Program. When you click on that, you'll find more information about SAP, the pre-application form, and the host site registration form. Going back here to the IPSF Leadership and Conferences, you'll find more information about leadership opportunities, our regional conference, and the World Congress. And this page, there is also a guide to international conferences. And next, for the IPSF campaigns and projects, there is a guide to the IPSF public health campaigns and projects that you can implement in your chapter. This is also where you'll find the Vampire Cup tracker and submission forms. And finally, for the International Vice President Toolkit, we have a document that has your roles and responsibilities as Chapter International Vice President. There's also a chapter guide and our Leadership Lab recording. Under that, you'll see our current ISC contact information. At the bottom of the page, we have a list of the most commonly used acronyms within IPSF and our frequently asked questions, which also contains a link to request a membership confirmation letter. If you go back up to the top of the homepage and click on the 3 lines on the top left corner, you can go to the schedule, which has all the World Health Days for this year. And next, we have a link to all the international conferences and more information about all the international leadership opportunities available to you nationally, regionally, and globally. And now I'll give it back to Caitlin.
Thank you. So once again, if you missed it before, you can reach any of the ISC members through the emails on the screen. And once again, don't forget to join the GroupMe to make sure they stay up to date with all of IPSF initiatives. For any questions about student exchange programs or becoming a host site, you can reach out to myself or Lino through that same email that is on the screen. For questions about public health projects, you can reach out to Ahmed. For questions about international opportunities and collaborations, you can reach out to Joel. Once again, I want to thank you for serving as chapter leader this year. We hope to see you again at the International Vice President Leadership Lab live session on July 30th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the APhA-ASP Policy Vice President Leadership Lab. My name is Joel Talley. I'm a 4th-year student pharmacist from St. Louis College of Pharmacy, and I am your chair.
Hi, everyone. My name is Nicole. I'm a 4th-year student pharmacist from the University of Buffalo.
Hey, I'm Brian Gomez. I'm a final year student pharmacist at the University of Georgia.
Hello, everyone. My name is Cap, and I am a 3rd-year student pharmacist at Mercer University.
We also have 2 of our committee members who are not here right now. Our APhA-ASP liaisons, Hayden Wood, who is our APhA-ASP Speaker of the House, and Crystal Outwell, who is the APhA Senior Director of Student and New Practitioner Development. So getting started, we'll talk about what it means to be a policy vice president. So your role is to serve as the policy and advocacy leader for your chapter. You help connect your peers to the bigger picture, what's happening in pharmacy legislation, and how we, as student pharmacists, can shape the future of the profession. That means staying up to date on current issues, sharing important updates, and organizing events that spark engagement, like policy forums, letter writing campaigns, and even Capitol Hill visits. You'll also take the lead on key national initiatives such as Back the Pack, which supports our voice in Washington. In addition to national efforts, don't forget to build a connection with your state pharmacy association and participate in state legislative days. Finally, you'll help guide your chapter through the APHA-ASP policy process, supporting policy development and serving as a delegate and making sure our ideas make it to the national level. To talk more about these, I'll hand it over to my peers in PSC.
Thanks, Joel. So, to stay up to date on the latest advocacy news and policy updates, APHA publishes a weekly legislative and regulatory update newsletter every Friday, focused primarily on federal issues. You can make sure that you are subscribed to this newsletter by going to pharmacist.com, logging into your account, and then navigating to My Subscriptions and Communications. Make sure you're opted into this newsletter to get pertinent updates every single week. You can also visit APHA's Advocacy Issues webpage to explore key priorities like provider status and reimbursement reform, including the current and ongoing federal legislation called ECAPS, and other issues like PBM reform and ensuring that there's federal protections in place for evidence-based care. Lastly, while APHA does do work on a state level to advance and advocate for issues relevant to your state, our focus as PSC is admittedly on larger federal and national issues. And so for that reason, don't forget to stay connected to your state pharmacy association too. Subscribe to any newsletters or communications that they have, and also be sure to stay in touch with your state association's government affairs staff to stay up to date on all things that are happening within your state. Once you have gotten policy updates, fantastic. Go ahead and share them. You can give a quick policy explainer at your chapter's general body meetings, or include policy news in your chapter's newsletters, social media, and whatever venues you have for communicating with chapter members. You might also organize educational activities, like inviting guest speakers, whether it's a local legislator or your law faculty, to share their perspectives on current issues in the profession. Also, consider hosting discussions or debates, like a pizza and policy night event. Or if you want something a little more fun, try a themed PowerPoint night, but make it all about fixing pharmacy. The point is, be creative and don't be afraid to collaborate with other groups, other student organizations, other student leaders, other committees. Remember, a lot of issues that are relevant to us in APHA are relevant to the entire profession, and so collaboration is a key way to enhance your role as a chapter vice or chapter policy vice president.
Some more things that you can do in leading advocacy activities as policy vice president is organizing letter writing campaigns at your chapter. You can visit this website for APHA's Advocacy Action Center, where you can find quick and easy pre-written letters, which you can send to your local, state Congress people. Capitol Hill visits is kind of another thing that you can engage at, whether that's in Washington, D.C. or at your state Capitol Hill. You can also feel free to collaborate with your state associations, as we've mentioned throughout this video, and encourage attendees to attend SLI, which is a Summer Leadership Institute, which happens every July in Washington, D.C., where we actually hold a Capitol Hill visit. Finally, it's never too late or too early to start building relationships with policymakers in your local space and inviting them to be guest speakers. And that's just another way to engage your local chapter in the policy process and to get them excited about policy. Yeah, so some more things that you'll be involved as policy VP is creating a resolution for the mid-year regional meeting, MRM, which happens in November of every year. You will draft a policy resolution along with your peers and bring that to the regional level at MRM. This is a kind of a great way to kind of get people who may be interested in policy at your local level, but haven't had the chance to develop their skills or be a part of policy before, to really just hone in on their skills and help out in creating a policy.
Hey everyone, so I wanted to talk with you guys about our fundraiser that we do at the start of the year in January, and just give you a little preview of what's to come in the coming year. So this fundraiser that we do is called Back the Pack. Now, what is a PAC, you might ask? A PAC is a political action committee, and this is how we raise funds to monetarily support the people that support us. So these funds go to the representatives who are representing pharmacy. It is a nonpartisan initiative. It is not by party lines. So I just wanted to give you guys a little preview of things to brainstorm for January. So some successful fundraiser ideas were Pie the Professor campaigns, where if you raise a certain amount of money, then one of your favorite professors gets pied in the face, and it kind of goes up like a thermometer, where at the top, your most favorite professor gets pied in the face. That's really fun. Another idea for a fundraising campaign is getting your whole chapter together and painting glasses or doing some sort of pottery. That has also been very successful in the past. But this is just a little preview of what's to come in January, and we will share more information then. So some tools for success for this upcoming year as you start your journey as a policy vice president are to stay on top of your tasks by checking and reading your emails for communications from APhA at both the national and the local level. Also, I recommend keeping a personal and chapter-wide calendar for key event dates and deadlines. You can reference the capsule to make sure that you're where you're supposed to be, which is another resource on our pharmacist.com website.
So this might seem like a lot, but one of the best things about being a policy VP is that you don't have to start from scratch. So there's tons of resources available to help you succeed, and it all is on pharmacist.com. So you'll find everything that you need on APhA-ASP policy and advocacy page. You can find the steps to getting there on the screen. So this includes a step-by-step guide for planning events, such as writing policy proposals and executing advocacy campaigns like Back the Pack. You can also download the capsule, which, like Cap said, walks you through the full APhA-ASP policy process, and then also access searchable versions of our past adopted policies, both from APhA-ASP and APhA Big House of Delegates. And there's also toolkits and timelines for planning events like voter registration drives, advocacy events, and even letter writing campaigns. If you're looking to level up your policy leadership, you can explore opportunities to run for regional delegate or apply to be us next year, the APhA-ASP Policy Standing Committee. So if you're ever unsure where to begin, this is a great place to start looking into what you can do and everything that you can do as a policy vice president. So with that, we welcome any questions. Feel free to email us or reach us through any forms of communications. And with that, we will see you at the live webinar at the end of July. Thank you.